Hey everybody, here it is, episode 124 of Is This Thing Working? May 27th, 2024. I'm sitting here today. This is our Memorial Day special. I'm sitting here with Denise. How you doing, Denise?
I'm doing great today.
Awesome. Ready to get this thing going?
Yes, I'm ready to honor.
I know
honor
I am.
the fallen.
Honor the ones that have sacrificed the ultimate sacrifice for us to live in a free country, in a land where we got life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And let's start with some history about this. I guess Memorial Day, or as it was originally known, we've got some history about that. It was originally known as Decoration Day. Decoration Day gradually came to be known as a observance to originally honor those who lost their lives while fighting in the Civil War. But during World War I, the United States found itself again embroiled in another major conflict, and the holiday evolved to commemorate American military personnel who died in all wars, including World War II, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, and the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. For decades, Memorial Day continued to be observed on May 30th, the date General Logan had selected for the first Decoration Day. But in 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which established Memorial Day as the last Monday in May in order to create a 3-day weekend for federal employees. The change went into effect in 1971. The same law also declared Memorial Day a federal holiday. So as you can see, we've only really truly been celebrating a federal holiday called Memorial Day since 1971. So anytime you ever hear a reference of Decoration Day, there you go. Now you'll understand what it is. Hey, are you looking for your next unforgettable experience? Discover and attend the hottest events in your area with Eventbrite. From concerts to conferences, festivals to fundraisers, Eventbrite has it all. With our easy-to-use platform, finding and purchasing tickets is a breeze. Plus, with personalized recommendations based on your interest, you'll never miss out on an event that's perfect for you. Whether you're a seasoned event goer or just looking for something new, Eventbrite connects you with experiences that create memories to last a lifetime. Download the app or visit their website today and start exploring your world with Eventbrite.
Don't forget to click the link below. So today, on this Memorial Day, we are going to remember the fallen and reflect on those who died in service of our country and honor those men and their memory, as well as countless other brave and honorable Americans. But before we do that, we would like you to never forget to share the show. Follow on all platforms, and don't forget we live stream on Rumble and Getter and X every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., and you can catch us there every single day. So don't miss a moment.
Yep. So we've chosen a few select men today to honor on our show. And as we said, we're going to start with World War II. Ernest Taylor Pyle was a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist from Indiana who worked as a roving correspondent for the Scripps Howard newspaper chain. Between 1935 and 1941, he delivered articles describing the lives of ordinary people in rural America. After Pearl Harbor, his career as a war correspondent began when he reported on the military fighting men, first concentrating on stateside service activities, and then from the European and Pacific theaters. Known as the GI's favorite correspondent, Pyle won a Pulitzer Prize for his war reporting in 1944. He was killed by sniper fire on April 18, 1945, while reporting on the invasion of Okinawa. Ernie Pyle was one of only a few civilians killed during World War II who were awarded a Purple Heart. Floyd Draper, born 1911, died 1943. He was a track and field star at the University of Southern California, where he held the world record for the 100-yard dash. He became part of the gold medal relay team alongside Jesse Owens at the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin. And Draper enlisted into the Army Air Corps in 1940, and he joined the 97th Squadron of the 47th Bomb Group at Dieppe, Tunisia. On January 4th, to strike German and Italian ground forces in Tunisia, he flew a mission, taking part in the Battle of the Kasserine Pass. His plane was shot down by enemy aircraft, and he was buried in the North African American Cemetery and Memorial in Carthage, Tunisia. Another one, Robert Bobby Hutchins, born 1925, died 1945. He was a popular child actor from Washington State who played Weezer in the Our Gang movies. His first movie was in 1927 when he was 2 years old, and he was only 8 when he left the series in 1933. After graduating high school, he joined the U.S. Army in 1943, and he enrolled in the Aviation Cadet Program. He died on May 17, 1945, in a midair collision during a training exercise at Merced Army Airfield Base in California. His remains were buried in the Parkland Lutheran Cemetery in Tacoma, Washington. You also have Jack Loomis, who was a professional baseball player. You have Harry O'Neill, who was also a professional baseball player. He was born in 1917. He died in 1945 during World War II. He was a professional baseball player for the Philadelphia Athletics, playing in one professional ball game in 1939. But he turned to teaching high school, and he continued to play semi-professional baseball with the Harrisburg Senators and semi-pro basketball with the Harrisburg Caissons. In September of 1942, O'Neill enlisted in the Marine Corps and became a first lieutenant that fought in the Pacific Theater. He lost his life, killed by a sniper, along with 92 other officers, including Floyd Draper, in the Battle of Iwo Jima.
Wow. That was pretty interesting. I didn't realize so many of them were very popular.
They were. And that's something to bring out. And that's why I wanted to bring these people out, is because if you look at their lives before they decided to enlist, they led good lives. They lived successful lives. They lived lives because of their freedom and because of the liberty that they held and because of living in America with our values and the way that things were supposed to be. And when the time came for them to step up and to defend their land and their country, they proudly stepped up and made that sacrifice. And I want to honor that. I thought that was really, really, really neat.
That is really, really neat, man. Thank you for sharing that. And then a tragedy as recent as August 2021, an attack outside the Hamid Karzai International Airport, Kabul, Afghanistan, killed 13 U.S. service members supporting Operation Freedom Sentinel. We're going to read their names today. But before I go on to read their names, if you ever have the chance to go to the Wall of Faces in Washington, D.C., do it. Just do it. Here are the names of the 13 U.S. service members killed in Afghanistan. There were 11 Marines, 1 Navy corpsman, and 1 soldier who were killed as a result of an enemy attack while supporting non-combatant evacuation operations.
Okay, so from the Marine Corps was Sergeant Johanny Rosario Pichardo, 25, of Lawrence, Massachusetts, assigned to the 5th Marine Expeditionary Brigade Naval Support Activity, Bahrain. Sergeant Nicole L.G., 23, of Sacramento, California, assigned to the Combat Logistics Battalion 24, 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Staff Sergeant Darren T. Hoover, 31, of Salt Lake City, Utah. Corporal Hunter Lopez, 22, of Indio, California, a rifleman. Corporal Dagan Page, 23, of Omaha, Nebraska, a rifleman. Corporal Humberto Sanchez, 22, of Logansport, Indiana, a rifleman. Lance Corporal David Espinosa, 20, of Rio Bravo, Texas, a rifleman. Lance Corporal Jared M. Schmitz, 20, of St. Charles, Missouri, a rifleman. Lance Corporal Riley J. McCullum, 20, of Jackson, Wyoming, a rifleman. Lance Corporal Dylan R. Morola, 20, of Rancho Cucamonga, California, a rifleman. Lance Corporal Kareem M. Naku, 20, of Norco, California. Navy Corpsman Maxton Soviak, 22, of Berlin Heights, Ohio, assigned to 1st Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division, Camp Pendleton, California. Staff Sergeant Ryan C. Noss, 23, of Corrington, Tennessee. He was assigned to the 9th PSYOP Battalion, 8th PSYOP Battalion Group, Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
We honor all 13 of these military young men.
Yeah, did you notice?
Who were killed. They were all...
nobody was over the age of 25,
There was one that was 31.
Okay.
Yes, Staff Sergeant Darren T. Hoover was the oldest.
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking to sit there and listen to all of them and see all their pictures and everything. It's really cool for the podcast audience. It's just devastating, but we've all been devastated by this. It's real in our memories right now. So we want to honor them and think about their families this Memorial Day. Here is a short sketch about one soldier whose name is carved on that wall. His name is Garney Burleson. He was a farm boy from North Carolina. He is not famous. You will not read about him anywhere other than here. He was a member of the elite aerial rifle platoon of B Troop, 1st Battalion, 9th Cavalry of the 1st Cavalry Division, also known as the Bravo Blues. Garney was killed in action on January 28, 1971, in Bien Thu Province, Vietnam. He was only 20 years old. He is buried in the cemetery in a small country church outside of Asheville, North Carolina. He has no immediate family members who are left to remember him today. No parents, no siblings. He never had any children. So at 20 years old, that was the last of his line. At the time of his death, Garney had been in Vietnam for about 3 months. He was already serving under his second platoon leader, his first having been medically evacuated after being wounded. Garney kept a cool head under fire. On one occasion, he was lying on the ground behind a tree during a firefight. Keeping his body behind the tree, he held his rifle around it and fired at the North Vietnamese, who were only a few yards away. An enemy soldier returned fire, hitting Garney's exposed rifle. The bullet hit the front side blade of his M16, then traveled all the way down the length of his rifle to take out the rear sight also. Obviously, if Garney had been looking through the sights, the bullet would have pierced his head. Unperturbed, Garney held up his damaged but still operable rifle for a nearby soldier to see, smiled, and calmly said, "They're shooting pretty close today, aren't they?" Garney's last platoon leader, known as Blue for his radio call sign, was feet away from Garney when he was killed. Blue carried Garney's body to an evacuation helicopter that was able to descend through a small opening in the trees. On Memorial Day 2018, that platoon leader made the trip from Knoxville, Tennessee, to his fallen soldier's gravesite. The platoon leader was a bit distressed at what he found at the church and cemetery. He had thought he might stumble upon a memorial service held by the church, or at least other mourners at the cemetery. That was not to be. He was alone. Garney's grave was not particularly well tended, although several others were buried there who could be identified as veterans from their headstones. The church had not made an effort to honor them on Memorial Day, neglecting even a place to put a small flag on the grave sites. The platoon leader went to a nearby store to purchase a small American flag and some flowers. He then returned and placed them on Garney's grave. He then penned a hasty note to his former soldier, encased it in a plastic bag, left it at the tombstone, and held it down with a small stone. He could only hope that by virtue of God's grace, Garney would know what it said and that he was not forgotten. Please join me on Memorial Day in remembering Garney Burleson and all the other members of our armed forces who perished in the service of our nation, whose sacrifice we remember and honor this Memorial Day.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.